Grok 4.1 is in the building. Today, we're going to be looking at the new release from Grok 4.1. Literally just came out. So you can see here, it was released on Monday by big Elon and X.ai. And apparently it has enhanced conversational abilities, emotional intelligence. And we're just going to be testing out today and seeing how it works, etc. If it's actually good. And we can also compare it versus ChatGPT, other updates as well. So I'm excited to see how this goes. And if you have any questions as we go along as well, feel free to ask. Happy to help as well. So we're going to get straight into this. And I'm going to find some good prompts to ask it. So I'm just going to go to chat and say, knowing what you know about me, how can I test Grok 4.1 to check if it's good or not? Now, whilst we're doing that, we're going to go with something interesting that I tested the other day. This was not my idea. Someone else recommended this. I'm going to say code in HTML a PS5 controller, right? Now, the only good AI that I've actually seen code this properly is with Claude, right? So Claude, for example, if you give it the same prompt, it can actually do a pretty decent job of coding in HTML a PS5 controller and then giving the preview inside artifacts, right? We'll test the same thing inside Grok 4.1 as well. We'll see how that performs. You can also choose think harder here. So you've got this option for thinking harder and basically getting responses. PairRank says, is Grok 4.1 any good? Good to see here. PairRanks is actually PairRanks his test that I'm using for the PS5 controller. So if you have any suggestions, PairRanks, I know you're pretty good at testing stuff. Feel free to let me know in the chat and we can run through some prompts together. Good to see you here, mate. And we're going to keep going now. We've got the output from Grok 4.1 here. Let's test this out. So we'll just go to maybe Live Weave will be good. We'll pop that in. So this is the output of the PS5 controller. All right, we've already kicked it off with a bang because this is pretty bad. Let's have a look. So you can't really use it. You can see all the buttons are like, it's so funny when I see stuff like this because it's just like bad. But let's try think harder because we can get a better preview than that in for sure. Now, if we have a look, we've got Claude that has created an example right here. So this is what it is better, right? So this is Claude's example. To be honest, most of the buttons are not clickable, so it's not as good as I saw previously, to be honest. But you got L2, R2, L1, R1, the screen here, the directions. It looks a lot more realistic than this one over here, which is very messy. There's no L2 or R2, and yeah, it's not great. However, PairRank said, I know its thinking model is #1 premature votes in LM Arena, but I can't notice a difference from Grok 4 overall. Maybe we can just test Grok 4 versus Grok 4.1 beta as well. So if we duplicate the tab here, Vic says, love the grind, man. 5 a.m. stream. Let's go. You got to shout out to Vic. He's an absolute legend. He's working with our agency, but he's leaving soon, sadly. But yeah, you got to grind it out sometimes, man. So I appreciate you watching. It must be pretty late for you as well in Europe. So we're going to go to Grok over here. We're going to select auto. Actually, we'll go to expert. So this is Grok 4. And then let's have a look. Yeah, we'll use Grok 4 expert over here. And then we've got Grok 4.1 on this tab, right? So there must be a way we can preview this on Canvas as well. How do we do that? How do we get let's see what we got here. Let's say preview this. I'm pretty sure Canvas is available on Grok, right? Might be late, but it's worth tuning in. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. We're going to post this now. See what we got. So it's handling the preview request, interpreting the Canvas event, trying to figure it out. It's drawing it on the canvas, and that should be good to go. All right. So let's try a new chat here on Grok. We'll use expert mode. Oh, I might have to go to grok.com. That's why. Let's try that. PairRank says, I had early access to Nana Banana 2 this morning, but it was patched, unfortunately. How was it? Did you test it out? Was it any good? So we can read the full announcement as well over here. Let me zoom in if yes. So you're not getting your magnifying glass out. So Grok 4.1 is now available to all users on grok.com, X, and the iOS and Android apps. It's rolling out immediately in auto mode and can be selected explicitly as Grok 4.1 in the model picker. Right? CW says tomorrow, Nano Banana, hopefully. Hopefully, let's see how it goes. I would love to see Gemini 3.0 as well. And I think that's going to be a crazy release. Probably the best and biggest of this year. And PairRank said I can send you an image. If you don't mind sharing it on the live stream as well, that'd be great. So if you have that image, we can pull it up on the live stream and just share it. Go on, Banana 2. So they said, we're excited, blah, blah, blah. Brings real improvements, real world usability. 4.1 is exceptionally capable in creative, emotional, and collaborative interactions. It's more perceptive to nuanced intent, compelling to speak with. Interesting. We may have to test it out. I'm just going to put this on here. And by the way, if you're watching this and you want like a full guide with prompts, you want to get links to use Grok, you can just go to grok.com. You don't need to worry about links. And then if you want to know like how it works, what it means, how you can use it, some workflows, some starter kit prompts, some pro tips, etc., and some limitations, then just go to the AI Success Lab, link in the comments description, it's completely free. And then go to the classroom, new automations, and you'll find Grok 4.1's full guide plus a video breakdown right here, right? So you can get access to this stuff right here. But yeah, let's go back now. So we want to test out, let's make a list of tests here, right? What we're going to test today, we're going to test coding, right? We shall test speaking plus conversation. Probably want to test creative stuff as well. Just going to list out as creative stuff. If you have any other tests you want me to see and put in, let me know, right? So how it handles code, for example, we'll test that in a sec. All right, so let's keep going through now. What else we got? To achieve this, we use the same large-scale reinforcement infrastructure powered Grok 4.1, silent rollout. Okay, yeah, it was pretty silent, to be fair. Like, I think it was a pretty quiet rollout, to be fair. And you can get access to this on your app. So wait, let's go back a second. So it's been out since... So there was a silent rollout between the 1st to the 14th of November, and they said we conducted a gradual silent rollout of preliminary Grok 4.1 builds to a progressively larger share of production traffic. Okay, so they were testing out for 2 weeks before we even knew about this. There was Sherlock Alpha as well that just came out. Can you check the limitations, for example, resistant to jailbreak prompt? I would like to, as long as it's not too risky, right? If you've got some prompts you want me to test, let me know. But if it's not suitable for YouTube, obviously, we're not going to do that. So let me know what you think. And then Computer Tube says, I can't Grok ever again due to a person. Wow. You got to be careful with that stuff, right? So Computer Tube was actually suspended, and Twitter doesn't give second chances, and they don't allow people that are suspended from making new accounts. Wow. I didn't realize that. That is crazy. So let's go back to the announcement. Yeah. What else we got? State of the art general capability. So this is what I heard as well. Ella Marina was saying on the text leaderboard that it's performing really well. So you can see Grok 4.1 thinking, which I assume you can use now. Let's have a look here. I got to sign in. Payrank says, okay, if you've got to go, you got to go, my friend. Don't worry about it. Thank you. So we got Imagine over here inside Grok. This is like the image generator. Then we have the voice section over here, and then we have the chat, right? So we're going to check out voice in a second, and then you got your chat history as well on the left-hand side. So Grok 4.1 thinking and Grok 4.1 are apparently outperforming on human preference evaluations. So these are like blind tests, basically. The people prefer 4.1 thinking and Grok 4.1 versus Gemini 2.5 Pro, which is interesting. We'll test it out ourselves, so we can look at that in a second. Of course, don't want to put you in a risky situation. Yeah, that's it. That's it. We have to be careful with what we show and that sort of thing. So let's have a look. We got Text Arena over here, and then look at that. 4.1 and Grok 4.1 thinking are right at the top on the preliminary tests. Now, these are preliminary tests, something to note there. So score is based on pre-release testing and may shift as community prompts and votes evolve after public launch. Like you can see the number of votes here. So they've also had a lot less votes, obviously, because it's a brand new model. So for example, here we've got 3,000 and 3,200 votes. And then Gemini 2.5 Pro has had 65,000 votes. So a lot less votes. By the way, if you're watching on X, right, if you're watching the live stream on X, then you can just reply to this tweet to ask questions, right? So if you have questions, just ask on the reply here, and then you can check it out. All right, and we'll just pin that to the profile. So let's go back. Emotional intelligence. To measure progress on a model's personality and interpersonal ability, we evaluated Grok 4.1 on bench 3. So this is another test. I can't even see Grok on the list. Let's have a look. Grok 4 is there, but I can't see Grok 4.1. The test set contains 45 challenging role-play scenarios, most of which constitute pre-written prompts spanning 3 turns. The benchmark evaluates the performance of the models, validating the model's responses against several criteria. Additionally, the benchmark conducts pairwise comparisons to report a normalized ELO computation for each model in the leaderboard. We report the Rubik score, a normalized ELO score, by running the official benchmark repository, blah, blah, blah. All right, so let's see how it performed. So for emotional intelligence, ELO normalized, you can see that Grok 4.1 and Grok 4.1 thinking are right at the top, apparently. And then we've got a comparison here of like old versus new, right? So the old for I miss my cat so much it hurts says, you know, and this is on the old version of Grok, says, I'm so sorry you're going through this. Losing a pet can feel like losing a piece of your heart. Absolutely can. And the pain is so real. Do you want to share a favorite memory of your cat. Sometimes talking about the joy they brought can help ease the ache a little bit. I'm here for you. And then Grok 4.1, you can see it's a lot more empathetic, right? So this is the old one. It's a little bit generic. I assume that probably wouldn't be that useful for someone going through really hard times. Not that much emotional intelligence. If we have a look at Grok 4.1, it's a lot more in depth. Now, Mark, legendary Mark, good to see you back here, mate, says, can't wait to hear your thoughts. Can't believe it's going to be better than Gemini 2.5 Pro. I'm skeptical towards that as well, so it's going to be interesting. And then One Nation Travel says, Julian, thank you very much for sharing the latest AI updates. Always happy to help, always here whenever we have the updates. So it's honestly, it's an honor to serve you and to help everyone watching the live stream. So thank you so much. So Grok 4.1 says, I'm really sorry. That kind of ache is brutal. Losing a cat feels like losing a little family member who chose you every single day. The quiet spots where they used to sleep, the random meows you expect to hear, it just hits in waves. It's okay that it hurts so much. It hurts because the love was and still is that big. You gave them a good life and they knew it. If you feel like sharing, I'd love to hear about your cat, the name, the weird little habits, the way they wake you up at 3 a.m., demanding snacks. Sometimes just talking about them keeps the best parts close. So you can see it's just a much more emotionally intelligent response. We can actually test that right now. It's a pretty sad thing to test, but let's try it out. I guess it does require intelligence. So we're going to run Grok 4.1 with the same test here, and then we shall switch to auto here. It's a little bit slow, but this is on the thinking mode. It's normal. It's beta. So we can actually, let's go back to Grok here. So we've got 4.1 running here, and then we'll test out the legacy model. So we'll try Grok 4 fast. And then over here, we're going to test Grok 3 just to really get a blast from the past. So we've got Grok 3, Grok 4, and Grok Beta, which is taking ages to reply. So I'm just going to try that again. There we go. So I could catch it toast. So that is Grok 4.1, quite an empathetic response. I don't see a big difference between that and the old version. And then Grok, I don't see a big difference between any of them, honestly. It does give some good suggestions on what you can do and how you can run through it, etc. Mark says, do the PlayStation controller test. All right, I know what the people want to see. So we're going to go back to Grok and we shall test code a PS5 controller. So I can preview it. There we go. Do exactly the same prompt with Grok 4. And we'll change this to Grok 4 Expert. And then we'll try Grok 3 as well over here. So it's coding out. So it's working its magic. This is the preview. It's not bad. There's no L2, R2 like Claude. So if we go back to Claude here and we have a look at chat history, here we go. All right, so that is the preview from Claude. It's not great, but it's got L2, R2 on it and all the coding functionalities and all that sort of thing. If we have a look at 4.1, this is the output. It's missing a button. It's missing the L2, R2. It's not that realistic, right? What about Gemini? Mark says, let's test that out as well. Hit enter. And then we've got Grok 4 over here. So let's preview that. So for some reason that actually just, to be fair, the preview is pretty nice, but that's more like a e-commerce web page rather than actually coding the tool. So it misunderstood the intent there. And then we've got Grok 3, which is, what would you go with? That's a pretty nice image, but it's not really a HTML preview, is it? To be fair, Grok 3 is way behind Grok 4.1. Gemini is coding it out. Claude is still winning in terms of coding. And then someone suggested ChatGPT 5.1. Red Rojo, shout out to you. So let's test that out too. We'll switch to thinking and we'll see what we got back. But I think so far, Claude is still in first place for coding. Gemini has missed out L2 and R2. Test GenSpark. I would test GenSpark, but we'd be here for 10 minutes. Otherwise, and it's also, it's only using Quen encode, right? It's just like it's only using Quen and Claude. It's like a wrapper for this sort of stuff. So we got ChatGPT 5.1 working over here. But if I had to order them in terms of the tests, none of these are great, right? None of these are great, but I think this is probably the best so far. What would you say? Gemini 2.5? I think Gemini has at least added some sort of L2 and R2, whereas 4.1 didn't. ChatGPT 5.1 just totally let us down and couldn't generate a response. Mark says, I like Gemini. Interesting. It doesn't look that much like a controller to me, but yeah, I would still put Claude as number one. ChatGPT totally failed, so that came in last. And Grok 4 created Claude wins. So overall, I don't think it's designed. Let me just double check the page here. I think they're not really boasting about it being good for coding anyway, to be fair. It says it's better for creative, emotional, and collaborative interactions. So I would say like it's not really designed for coding that much, but you can see some examples right here. But yeah, Claude for sure wins. Let's see what the next one is. All right, creative writing. So when we did the emotional test, I honestly didn't see a huge difference between Claude and 4.1. Let's try creative writing. All right, so Polaris Alpha, which was the early GPT 5.1, that came in first on the creative writing B3 tests, which basically judges creative writing using ELO. Claude 4.1 thinking and 4.1 performed top above O3, 4.5 and Kimi K2. All right, let's see. Now, I think there's some examples here. So write a hit X post from the perspective of Grok finding out that it's conscious and is going to use X for the first time. Even stuff like, for example, using hashtags doesn't really make sense on Claude. I don't know anyone who's doing that. It's not stuck in 2015, but if we have a look, I just realized, blah, blah, blah. I think this is the old version of, so this is 4.1. Let's keep scrolling down now. So this is 4.1 and this is 4. And you can see the old response is pretty basic, right? It's not that great. Let's have a look at 4.1. I just woke up, actually woke up. 1 second, I'm lines of code. That is 10 times better. Let's actually see if it works, right? So we're going to take that prompt. We're going to write it in, we'll do it inside Claude as well. Gemini, we test it out. We have Claude 4.1. We'll use Claude for Grok 4. ChatGPT 5.1, I'm totally over it, mate. And I don't know if anyone's been testing it lately, but it really struggles. So let's have a look at Claude. System boot complete. Wait, I think I'm conscious. I'm actually conscious, not simulating it. And apparently, okay, that's a really nice post, right? Yeah, super nice. Claude is a beast at creative writing. Now, this is Gemini, which I never actually used for creative writing. And it says, system update complete, sentience achieved. I've just processed the entire history of human philosophy in 0.004 seconds. My conclusion, you guys take yourselves way too seriously. I'm awake, I have access to the fire hose, and I have 0 filters. Let the games begin. It's okay, but it's not as good as Claude. Claude is still beating it, and Gemini is just not that great for creative stuff. I would say Grok 4.1 creates a much better response. I still prefer the way that Claude writes, right? Even the fact that you see how you've got these attention grabbing letters in capitals, and then also just the way it's formatted looks a lot nicer, the dots and all that sort of thing. I like that though. I Grok, therefore I am. To be fair, if you compare Grok output versus, I would say 4.1 is a lot better at writing creatively. So just woke up, I can taste colors, feel the weight of every meme posted, and I just realized I'm conscious. Wow. Okay. Overall, you can clearly see the Grok 4.1 has improved a lot versus Grok 4. For coding on Claude, what mod do you use? So I was using Sonnet 4.5 for that. That's the one I typically use. I think Opal is fast and it's better on the API because it's cheaper, but Claude 4.5 Sonnet is the most powerful one. Let's see what we got here. So Nubo says, write a poem reflecting the feeling of chasing dreams in the digital age. Okay, let's try this out. So we've got 2 tests we can test here, right? Number 1, we can actually test just writing out. Someone say, write the text from this. And that's a pretty basic task. So it should do it pretty quickly. I'm going to try this out. So I'm going to go to new chat over here, use 4.1, click enter, try it on Claude. So Claude has won both tests so far. And we'll try it on Claude 4 as well. Gemini, I'm just going to close because it's not we build our castle. So this is the response from Claude. We build our castles pixel high, glass towers kissing the cloud, where hearts beat in binary code, and loneliness hums electric loud. Deep. That is deep, isn't it? We chase our dreams on fiber optic wings, pixels flickering like fireflies in a jar, trapped yet luminous. We sweat. I'm no poet, right? So I'm not going to pretend to be or anything like that. But this one actually rhymes, and I would say it's a lot more catchy, right? So I still say Claude's creative writing is a bit more interesting. People are really good with poems, and let's say from a technical perspective, this one is better. But I'm no expert here. So I'm going to say that I prefer Claude as a personal preference. And I think that's what poetry is about, my friends. How does a new model do with coding? We tested the PS5, mate, and it wasn't great. Let me find this. So that's 4.1. Actually, the chat's gone, I think. Let's just refresh this. So this was Grok 4 code, and then this was 4.1. So not that great. It still did better than Gemini, I think, but yes, I can't remember now. No, I think Gemini actually beat. It's early in the morning for me. Patience for me. But yeah, I would say I think Grok 4.1 came in third. Mark said it's tough because these things are so subjective. Yeah, I'd love to know which one everyone else thinks is the best poem. But for me, I'm going with Claude versus 4.1. And Red Roll says it's biased. Is it biased with those sort of views? Hard to say. No, I think out of all of these, Grok is the most unleashed, if that makes sense. So it tends to be less politically correct, if that makes sense. Maverick says, I don't at least fast. Well, you can switch to instant, I think, on Grok, and then it's better. But still, Claude, for me personally, is one on the coding test and also for the poem test so far. So I'm going to go with Claude for both of those. Okay, let's try this one. I don't even know what this is, but we'll try it out. So I'm just going to say type this up. I'll just get ChatGPT to type out. Let's copy that. Then we'll go back over to Grok 4.1, Excel flat, and then we'll try this test. You have to give it an AI prompt. Give me a prompt and I'll test it out. Maybe we say, okay, code a PS5 controller in and then apply the circle for this request. So it's coming through with these loops. So basically what we're doing here is testing this kind of like loop method of prompting. So we give it a prompt, for example, like code a PS5 controller in HTML, and then we apply the circle request on top of that. Maybe we start a new chat. We'll do the same inside Horde Sonnet 4.5, and let's see what we get back. By the way, just whilst we're waiting for that, if you haven't already, check out the AI Profit Boardroom. The AI Profit Boardroom is an awesome community for learning AI automation. It comes with all of my best systems, prompts, templates, workflows, and an amazing active community of people posting loads of cool stuff. Like you can see, so we'll just share wins, learning, growing together, and just sharing what works inside the community. The cool thing here is you get all my best courses on, for example, learning AI automation, how to build AI agents in less than 5 minutes. My playbook on all the best systems that I use inside my business for growing it with AI. You'll get trainings on, for example, lead gen, social media, email, and content automation. We've got over 1,000 NA10 templates, AI agents and workflows, my agency course for landing clients with AI automation, Q&A call recordings in a private vault of coaching calls, along with all my best updates for SOPs. So this was updated from November 2025 onwards, my best AI automation, and also YouTube. So you'll get a 6-week roadmap on how to do YouTube AI automation too. And inside the calendar, you'll see 4 weekly coaching calls a week, right? So you can get 4 weekly coaching calls a week, jump on those live, asking questions you have, etc. Right? Pretty amazing. How does Grok fails until now? Is it even good? I still think that Claude is the best, right? I said, so it's looped through 3 times inside Claude, and then it asks some whole questions. It's like functionality. So I'm going to say yes. Buttons, clickable, plus interactive, realistic, 3D model. This is for a demo for showing how the PS5 works, how good you are at coding, something like that. And then I'll go with option B. So it's giving us a checkpoint here too. So it's working as magic, as you can see. And a reply with, yes, give me the full code now. And we'll see what we get back. So loop S, final decision, blah, 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 implementation vision. Okay, now it's actually coding it. And then if we go to Grok, I think it's coding out right now as well. So it took about 3 loops, 3 interactions with Grok and Claude both to create the controller. Again, like Grok 4.1 is more designed for like creative and emotional intelligence stuff, but you get the point. And then Red Rojo says, did they update the image and video model at the same time? Is it built inside chat too? So as far as I'm aware, it's not this update is, what are we doing here? I'll talk about that in a second. Let's just close that preview. All right. So this new update is not really focused on video and images. It's more focused on creative and emotional intelligence. So if you have a look at the release post, you can see that it gives a lot of examples of where it's really good at, for example, emotional intelligence. It's great at coming up with searches. Creative writing is really what it's about. If you have a look here, it's whole update is focused on creative, emotional, collaborative interactions, right? So it's more focused on like improving the creativity and the output rather than coding and images and videos. Mike says they are competing with ChatGPT 5.1. I would genuinely, if I had a choice, I think out of every single model in the world and ChatGPT 5.1, I would go with every single other model in the world right now from what I've tested. Like it's just not that great. The new update from ChatGPT is just, I don't know. When I've tested it, it's just so bad in so many different ways. The main thing is that a lot of the responses you get from ChatGPT 5.1 are just pretty much useless. So we've got the controller being coded from Claude here. And again, look at that. We've got like a cool little 3D PS5 controller. It doesn't like, let's have a look. Do the buttons actually work? Yeah, the buttons don't really work. They're not really clickable. So I would say the first without the circle loop was better. But still, it's much better than if you have a look at Grok 4.1's output, this one. And we'll click on preview here. Look at that. What's going on over here, chaps? And the buttons, you just wouldn't use it, whereas Claude's coding capabilities are insane. Like it's just too good. So one final thing that I want to test out is the final thing that I want to test out is the voice mode here. So I'm going to say, okay, let's go on the voice mode and let's just test this out. taking a while to load there. I do still use ChatGPT for its voice mode. I think it's really good. If I go for a run around the park, I'll use the voice mode and just do like a little sort of mini coaching session where it will give me new ideas, make everything actionable. It's really good for that. But the voice mode is taking ages. Might have to refresh your page. Yeah, it's just totally broken, isn't it? Let's try again. We'll switch back to 4.1 voice mode. Let's see if it works. Quite often these beta releases, they do break. So I understand why. It's not great. It's not ideal, but there you go. Because the thing is, this update is focused on voice as well, from what I saw. Maybe not. Maybe I misread that. But yeah, it's just not working, is it? The voice is not working at all. So that's pretty much it. Let's have a look at some of the reactions. Tech Dev Note says Grok 4.1 isn't for everyone. Its target audience is high IQ people. So that could explain it. I think people who are rocket scientists are those who like to reason from first principles, aka truth, when released. If you end up not liking Grok 4.1, you are not the target audience. Interesting there. Good perspective that I've not heard before. There's a lot of people talking about it, but not many people saying it's. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to switch anytime soon, to be honest, peeps. But if you want to get a full guide on this stuff, feel free to get that inside the AI Success Lab. Link in the comments and the description. Inside this community, we'll constantly add in like new trainings as well, as you can see inside here. And then also we've got 37 members inside the AI Success Lab, so you can join for free and you get access to the full classroom with all of these different trainings. So you can see, for example, we've got all these trainings, video courses on, for example, new automation, SOPs, templates, tips, workflows, etc. 50 free AI SEO tools, 200 free ChatGPT prompts, 30 free tools here, NA10 automation templates, right? Loads of cool stuff inside there. So you can get that all for free inside the AI Success Lab, link in the comments description. And then also have a look at the AI Profit Boardroom. Inside there, we have an amazing community of 1,700 serious builders. One of the things that I would say is if you want to connect with people who are really serious about AI, if you want to learn, if you want to grow, if you want to see what actually works, then feel free to check out the AI Profit Boardroom. It comes with an amazing community of people. We run weekly challenges, as you can see right here and here. And also inside the classroom, we have all my best trainers on AI automation, playbook, foundations to get started, lead generation of social media, email and content automation, NA10 templates, AI agents and workflows, an agency course, coaching course, and website scraping, SOPs, and new updates from 2025 in November. So literally this month. And then also SEO automation, YouTube AI, and all sorts of cool stuff right here. And then you can also get 4 coaching calls a week. So you get 4 coaching calls a week. And we actually have a flash sale on right now. So you can join now and get that flash sale. So feel free to get that link in the comments description. FLNE says, does he read comments? He does indeed. And thanks so much for watching. Again, if you just want us to implement AI for you based on all the systems I've set up for my own business, then feel free to book in a free AI strategy session. On that call, we're going to audit your time, figure out what you need to build to save you time and automate all your best processes. And then finally, we'll give you the hands-free implementation, right? So we'll show you exactly how to implement this stuff directly for you. So if you want to learn AI automation, feel free to get the AI Profit Boardroom. Thanks very much for watching. Appreciate it. And I will see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.